Tens of thousands of fossils preserved in amber show that since the very earliest times, termites have always remained termites, ants have always been ants, frogs have always been frogs, grasshoppers have always been grasshoppers, and moths have always been moths, and that none of them has ever changed. As you know, the theory of evolution maintains that millions of years ago, the Earth must have been entirely populated by primitive life forms. Yet fossils tell us the exact opposite. As you have seen throughout the course of this film, living things that existed hundreds of millions of years ago are right before our eyes today. And contrary to what evolutionists claim, they are not primitive at all. Fossils document the fact that even in the very earliest times, there existed living things with exceptionally superior features and highly developed and complex structures. When the evidence preserved in the fossil record is examined in detail, we can see creatures whose body structures, organs, and skeletons are identical, right down to the smallest detail, to specimens alive today. This fact, of course, completely undermines all the myths and scenarios suggested by the theory of evolution. Because what it means is that over the course of millions of years, no supposed evolutionary process from the primitive to the most advanced ever actually happened. According to the theory of evolution, over the passage of eons, all living things descended from one another by means of gradual changes. Yet if this claim of evolution were true, then flawed, imperfect, underdeveloped, intermediate forms representing such an imaginary process must once have existed. For example, half-fish and half-reptilian creatures must once have existed, having acquired certain reptilian characteristics while still retaining fish-like ones. Or creatures displaying both reptilian and bird-like characteristics should have appeared. Furthermore, there must have been millions, even billions more of these intermediate forms than existing species. And naturally, we should have encountered plentiful fossils of these intermediate forms in rock strata all over the world. As a result, all the museums in the world should have been displaying fossils of half-fish, half-reptiles, half-reptile, half-birds, semi-finned, semi-tailed, half-winged, half-legged, eyeless, earless, one-eyed, one-eared life forms, all imperfect and deficient in some way. Darwin, who was well aware of this fact, said in his book, The Origin of Species, "If my theory be true, numberless intermediate varieties linking most closely all of the species of the same group together must assuredly have existed. Consequently, evidence of their former existence could be found only amongst fossil remains." When we look at the fossil record, however, we see no intermediate forms at all. On the contrary, we encounter fully formed, flawless, complex, and perfect life forms. Those that have not gone extinct are no different from those living today. Darwin was also aware of the complete lack of the intermediate form fossils he had proposed. In fact, he even predicted that this would represent a major stumbling block for his theory. He therefore wrote the following in the chapter titled Difficulties on Theory in the Origin of Species. Why, if species have descended from other species by insensibly fine gradations, do we not everywhere see innumerable transitional forms? Why is not all nature in confusion instead of the species being, as we see them, well defined? But, as by this theory innumerable transitional forms must have existed, why do we not find them embedded in countless numbers in the crust of the earth? Why then is not every geological formation and every stratum full of such intermediate links? Geology assuredly does not reveal any such finely graduated organic chain, and this perhaps is the most obvious and gravest objection which can be urged against my theory. And Darwin's fears did indeed become a reality. For some 100